Morning peeps, I'm back again and I've decided I'm going to start doing a few more videos, because I don't do very many. I do like to do one a week or maybe one every 2 weeks when I feel like it. And I'm still going to only do them when I feel like it, but I am going to kind of start upping my output, I think, because they only take me like 20 minutes to do, and people seem to be giving them quite good feedback, and I'm really enjoying this season, so I want to kind of makes me want to, interact and record what's going on, because it's fantastic this year. It's the most enjoyable I can remember for like many years, just because of the pricing and just the sheer amount of options that there are out there. And I know my rank isn't that fantastic, but there's very short, very narrow margins. You can climb the ranks pretty quickly if you have a really good game week. And it's really interesting, isn't it? Really interesting this season. A lot of people don't like it because they can't control it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like there's a really good template that's like better than everything else because all the people in your template are underpriced. Like last year when we all had Palmer, we all had everybody, and anyone who went different really was just being bad. But now, this season, you can go different and be rewarded, because in theory, with everything priced correctly, you can kind of stick any combination in there with your 100 million and get good returns, because there are so many options. And a lot of people don't like that because it means they can't control what's happening. You get someone in and someone else will get lots of points, and you kind of start wanting them. And this is what I want to talk about today, because I've had a bit of a thought this morning about whether I'm playing it properly and about whether you're playing it properly, and whether there are better ways this season to be playing. And the trend I've noticed is that for everybody to be continually swapping out between Saka, Salah, Haaland and Palmer, everybody's constantly moving from one to the other. And what the problem is with this, of course, that the rest of your team can start stagnating. Like I've got Flecken. I'd love to get rid of Flecken, but I've been chasing after Haaland for the last few weeks. And before that it was Palmer. And, I've got Solanke and Calvert-Lewin. People I want to be changing, but the temptation is everyone's kind of spending all their transfers now on going to get Salah in, aren't they? And then it'll be taking Salah out to get Saka back in. And we saw all those people doing Saka to Son, to Palmer, to Foden. And has it got anyone anywhere, really? So the thing is, these premium players are very fixture proof. They can score against anybody. We saw with Saka this week, scored against Liverpool. A lot of people took him out partly because he was injured and partly because of his fixtures. But it didn't really matter. We saw Palmer, not an easy fixture against Newcastle, but he's still got 10 points. So really, I think these should be the set and forgets. And we should be using our transfers on the cheaper players. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a team. This is kind of for inspiration. I think we can learn a lot from this team, actually, because it's from our old mate in my community league. So we'll have a look. Where are we, peeps? So we're going to have a look at the old FPL WAG again. We're often looking at this team out because it's always different from everybody else's. She played Steve-O this week from Elite FPL. Smashed him. Now, I'm on Steve-O's show tomorrow, actually. Elite FPL tomorrow. I think it's 7:30 PM UK time. I'm a guest on his show. That's if I can get there. Got a very full schedule, peeps. I said to him, I've got a quick window. I might be able to make it, so we won't know yet. But I think I'm going to get there, and it'll be on at 7:30 tomorrow UK time. So look out for that. But anyway, what we're going to look at is this team of WAGs, because this team shows, and always shows, that there are more ways to play FPL than most people realise. You've got 67 points. No Haaland, when everyone else was captaining him, triple captaining him. She didn't even bring him in. No Mbuemo, which is a bit, people say, oh, it's crazy, you've got no Bueno in there, he's essential. But she didn't have him either, and he was the highest scoring player of the week, I think. And she still scored 67 points. She's up near the top 500,000, which is decent. I think she had a bad start with all Haaland's hat-tricks, because she never owns Haaland, or any Man City players for that matter. But she's going along great. And the reason is, because what she did, she put Salah, Palmer and Saka in, I think right from the beginning almost, had those three in there, and just used her transfers to rotate strikers that are in form, like Vardy and Delap. I think she had a couple of other ones earlier on. And just using transfers on these 4 spots here, basically. Which means I don't know how many transfers she's got, but she's probably saved a few because she hasn't been chasing after the premiums. She didn't take Saka out. And if you looked at her team before this game week, she'd had Saka with a yellow flag, no Haaland, and you'd think, how is she going to get a green arrow this week? And she got one, 67 points. But this team here is what people are now aspiring towards, isn't it? I mean, I'm quite jealous of this team. I'd swap this team in a heartbeat for my own team, because this is what I want. I want these three, and I just want to keep them, and I want to forget about Haaland, just because he's overpriced. But I'm finding now that the problem is, it's not that easy to make all the switches to make this team happen. It needs multiple. It almost needs a wild card, really. Because you see you've got Winks in there rather than Rodgers. And that price difference, having that traditional cheap fifth midfielder, makes a lot of difference. I've got no idea how much money she's got in the bank. Oh, here we are, 0.1. So she's got all her funds in use. So I wouldn't even be able to get to this team unless I made significant changes, including taking out Rodgers and all of those. Still got Trent, Pickford. So she's using money. She's not gone for the cheapest keeper combination, but she has got a good keeper. But this is the sort of team, I think, that's going to do really well over the course of the season, rather than all this constant switching between the big hitters. I mean, I saw some streams this week, and they're desperate to bring Salah in. That's all they're talking about. They've got this obsession, we have to get Salah this week. Last week it was, we have to get Son, or we have to... it's always one of these big hitters that people are always aspiring to own. And they're blanking themselves to other options, that we must get Salah in this week. So they're looking at, shall we take out Palmer to get him? Some people were talking about taking out Palmer to get him, with the plan to switch back again in a few weeks. So you've got all these transfers needed to get Salah in, and then in 3 or 4 weeks he's got some tough fixtures, and then they're talking about bringing him out to swap back to Haaland or to get Palmer or whatever. But here you can see you just get 3 of them and just stick with them the entire time and just don't change them. Unless one of them's got a significant injury. I mean, Saka missed a week, but she just kept him anyway. I think she might have played Winks last week. And this is it. Honestly, I'd swap this team in a heartbeat for my own one. There's so much. Honestly, this is what I want. Because I'm struggling now. All this chasing after chasing after these premiums has left me with the likes of Calvert-Lewin, Flecken, even Solanke's now looking dodgy, isn't he? And Johnson's going to have to go soon, and it's a nightmare, peeps, a nightmare. Pau Torres, waste of space. Hopeless. But on the positive side, I did bring in Fernandes, and this is good news, peeps. Very good news indeed, because I bought him in on Monday. I wasn't mucking about. No, I think it was Sunday. I saw Matoma's price was going to drop, and it did. So I got out 10 minutes before his price was going to drop, took him out, and bought Fernandes in. And that was before there was even the manager got sacked. But now he is sacked. We've got a Portuguese manager. Fernandes is Portuguese. It all looks positive. They can only get better. They've got cracking fixtures coming up. I know Chelsea's not easy, but they're going to have that new manager bounce this week. Old Trafford's going to be buzzing, and it's all going to go off. Basically, I reckon that game. Honestly, that game is going to be another one. If you yellow cards, there's going to be. You're all going to get booked this week. Chelsea players always get them every week. Chelsea players, half a dozen booked, and this game here. It's going to be carnage. It's going to be so high sort of tempo. I think Fernandes will probably get booked though. That's the problem. But I can see there's going to be a lot of drama this week, and I want a big piece of it. I want Fernandes in my team because the next three are looking pretty good for him. And I tell you what, if he does go off, I think he's down to like 6% ownership or something now. If he does go off, that price is going to get a rocket under it because of the massive fan base they've got. And, you've got doubts about where the rest of the team are going to play, where the new manager is going to favour or whatever. But you can be pretty sure, being Portuguese and whatever, that he's going to... Fernandes is going to be in the spotlight. He's on penalties. What can go wrong, really, Peaks? What can go wrong, Ask any of the FPL boys, they'll tell you what can go wrong. I think they've had him for 9 weeks and all they've got is 2 assists. Well, to me, that makes him even more appealing now because he's 8.2 and they paid 8.5, and also his blanks are behind him. It's the complete opposite from Miss Johnson character, isn't it? He got 8 goals in a row. I bought him in and he's got 2 blanks, so... maybe we're better buying players after we've had 8 blanks. Maybe that's the way to play it. So that's my new strategy anyway. So I've got Fernandes in. Blanks, I don't have to, I'm not paying for his previous blanks. I'm getting him for his future hauls. Anyway, peeps, that's about it. So I thought I'd come on and just ask that question today. Should we be chasing after all these players? If you've got Haaland, maybe you should just keep it. Maybe even myself here, even this structure that I've got now is fine. Just having 2 of them maybe, Palmer and Haaland, and just keeping them. Although I think Saka actually is pretty good value, really. He's only 10 million, isn't he? So I think he's better value than Salah, for example. And I'd be happier having Saka in my team, but having Haaland, Palmer and Saka is actually not that easy, to be honest. How much have I got in the bank? I never know how much I got in the bank. 0.5. Yes, it's not that easy, is it, having 3 of them, if one of them's Haaland. So this is why I think I prefer WAG structure with Saka, Palmer and Salah. I think I prefer that one. Anyway, peeps, I'm off now. That's just why I came on, just to have a quick chat about these premiums and to whether we are, in fact, spending too much time chasing after them and whether we should just pick 3 and stick with it. Or just go with the flow, a bit like I am. I'm just going with the flow. But really, so far, it's not... working that great, I don't even really want Haaland, but he's not that easy for me to get rid of. So what I think I'm going to do with this Haaland business, now we're talking about Haaland, is I'm not going to rush him out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for Saka to have his good fixtures again in a couple of weeks, and then I'm going to take Haaland out and replace him with Saka. I'll take Johnson out because his fixtures come to an end in a couple of weeks. Take him out, bring Saka in, and take Haaland out for someone like Watkins or Jackson. And then I'll be set, and I'll be changing Calvert-Lewin to Cunha next week. That's next week's transfer. If he blanks against Southampton next week, he's definitely gone for Cunha. That's going to be my next transfer. And then the following week it might well be Haaland to Saka and Jackson in for his good fixtures. And I'd be quite happy with just Palmer and Saka going forward, I think, without really having Salah or Haaland. Because if Fernandes and Man strike, if he goes really well, then having Palmer, Saka and Fernandes could soon become equally as good an option as the Palmer, Saka, Salah. Anyway, peeps, I'm off now. So like and subscribe. I've got to get up. I've got to go for a run. And I'll talk to you all later anyway. So like and subscribe. And cheers for now then, peeps.